I can't do this anymore, Jae. We need to end this before someone gets hurt. Maya's hands trembled as she packed Lily's diaper bag, 3 weeks after moving into the renovated apartment. 3 weeks of Jae showing up every morning with coffee and that devastating smile. 3 weeks of falling asleep on his chest while he held Lily and hummed old Korean lullabies. 3 weeks of pretending this could actually work, that a broke English teacher and a mafia boss could somehow build something real. And then she found the photos. Someone had slipped them under her door while she was giving Lily her morning bottle. She'd heard something, a soft scraping sound, but by the time she got to the door, the hallway was empty. Just a manila envelope lying on her welcome mat. Inside were dozens of photos. Her and Lily at the park near Hongang River. At the grocery store buying formula. Leaving the pediatrician's office on Tuesday. Getting coffee at the cafe on the corner. Each moment of her life for the past week, documented, violated, marked with a red X. But it was the note that made her blood run cold. Typed in neat, professional font, pretty family. Would be a shame if something happened. Tell your boyfriend to back off our territory, or we'll send you back to him in pieces. Starting with the baby. Her hands shook so badly she dropped the photos, and they scattered across her new hardwood floor like evidence of her stupidity. What had she been thinking? That she could play house with a criminal and face no consequences? That love, if that's what this terrifying feeling in her chest was, could somehow protect them from his world? Lily gurgled from her bouncer, completely unaware that her mother was having a breakdown, and Maya felt tears streaming down her face. She'd survived so much. Her mother's death, an unexpected pregnancy, moving to a foreign country alone. But this? The thought of someone hurting her baby because of a man she'd known for 3 weeks? No. Absolutely not. She grabbed her phone, texted her friend Sarah to see if she could crash there for a few days, and started packing with shaking hands. Diapers, formula, clothes, the few toys Lily had. She'd figure out the rest later. Right now, she just needed to get her daughter somewhere safe. Okay, pause. Before I continue with what happens next, I need you to do something for me. If you're new here and already hooked by this absolute disaster of a situation, subscribe right now because part 3 is going to blow your mind. I'm talking wedding crashers, rival mafia families, custody battles, and a plot twist that'll make you scream at your screen. Seriously, the next part gets so intense. There's a showdown, a public proposal gone wrong, and someone from Maya's past shows up at the worst possible time. And for those who watched part 1, drop a comment. Team Jae or Team Run? Because the comments on the last video were divided and honestly, I'm living for the chaos. Some of you are like he renovated her apartment, he's a keeper. And others are like red flags everywhere, Maya run. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe, turn on those notifications because you do not want to miss what happens next. Trust me, it gets so much worse before it gets better. And by worse, I mean someone ends up in the hospital, someone makes a very public declaration, and Maya has to make the biggest decision of her life. Now let's get back to Maya's worst day ever, shall we? Back to story. Jae appeared in her doorway before she'd even finished packing the diaper bag. Of course he did. The man probably had cameras in her apartment, tracking her every move. The thought that once seemed romantic now felt invasive, suffocating. Going somewhere? His voice was carefully neutral, but she could hear the tension underneath. He was in one of his expensive suits, Tom Ford probably, looking like he'd just stepped out of a magazine. How did he always look so put together while her world was falling apart? Running won't keep you safe, he continued when she didn't answer, stepping into the apartment and closing the door behind him. His usual composure was cracking around the edges. She could see it in the tightness around his eyes, the way his hand flexed at his side. It'll make you vulnerable. Easier to target. Staying with you made us targets. Maya shoved the photos at his chest, her voice breaking. This is your world, Jae. Your enemies. Your violence. My daughter doesn't deserve this. She's 3 weeks old. 3 weeks. And already someone is threatening to hurt her because of you. His jaw clenched as he looked at the photos, flipping through them one by one. And for the first time since she'd met him, Maya saw actual fear in his eyes. Not for himself. For them. The photos were professional, high quality, taken with expensive equipment from various angles and distances. Whoever had been following them knew what they were doing. This wasn't some amateur threat. This was serious, organized, dangerous. "Show me the note," he said quietly, and there was something in his voice that made her shiver. Something cold and lethal that reminded her exactly who she was dealing with. She handed it over with shaking hands and watched his expression shift from fear to something else entirely. Something that should have terrified her. The transformation was complete and absolute. This wasn't the man who sang lullabies to Lily at 3 a.m. This wasn't the man who made her coffee exactly how she liked it and left little notes on her counter. This wasn't the man who kissed her like she was precious. This was the mobster everyone else saw. The executive director of alternative commerce. The man people crossed the street to avoid. "Pack a bag," he said, already pulling out his phone. His voice left no room for argument. "You're coming with me. Now. Jay, I can't just. Now, Maya." He was texting rapidly, his other hand already reaching for the gun she now noticed at his hip. When had he started carrying that around her? "We do this my way, or I have my men move you by force. Your choice, but we're leaving this apartment in the next 5 minutes either way. You can't just order me around like." He looked up from his phone, and the intensity in his eyes stopped her mid-sentence. "Yes, I can. When it comes to your safety and Lily's, I absolutely can. You can be angry at me later. Right now, you're going to pack essentials for 3 days, grab Lily, and get in my car. We'll argue about my high-handed methods when you're somewhere they can't put a bullet through your window." The casual mention of bullets made her stomach drop. This was real. This wasn't some romantic thriller she could pause when it got too intense. This was her life, her baby's life, and she'd walked straight into it with her eyes wide open. Stupid. She'd been so stupid. 20 minutes later, they were in his Mercedes, the same car from that rainy night that felt like a lifetime ago. Lily was sleeping peacefully in her car seat, completely unaware that her world was imploding. The baby had Jay's expensive suit jacket draped over her carrier, protecting her from the air conditioning, and the domesticity of the gesture made Maya want to cry. "Where are we going?" she asked, watching the familiar streets of Itaewon disappear behind them. "Somewhere safe." He was driving fast but controlled, his knuckles white on the steering wheel, checking the mirrors every few seconds. "Somewhere they won't find you." "They." Her voice came out smaller than she intended. "The Choi family." His jaw was tight. "They've been trying to undermine my operations for months. Encroaching on territory, undercutting prices, bribing my contacts. Going after you is their way of getting to me. Making a statement." Maya's blood ran cold. She'd heard about the Choi family. They'd been on the news a few months ago, something about a scandal involving politicians and illegal gambling. "This is exactly what I was afraid of," she whispered. "I know." His hand found hers across the center console, squeezed once, twice. His palm was warm, solid, real. "I know, and I'm sorry. But Maya, leaving won't stop them now. They've already seen you with me. They already think you matter. Running just makes you easier to grab." "Do I?" The question slipped out before she could stop it, and she hated how vulnerable she sounded. "Matter to you?" For a moment, she thought he wouldn't answer. Then he pulled over so abruptly she gasped. They were on some side street in Gangnam, rain starting to fall like that first night they met. The universe had a sick sense of humor. He turned to face her, and his eyes were blazing with something fierce and terrifying and wonderful. "You think I renovated your entire apartment for fun? You think I spend every night on your incredibly uncomfortable couch because I like back pain?" His hand cupped her face, thumb brushing away tears she hadn't realized were falling. "Maya, you've become the most important thing in my world in 3 weeks. You and Lily. And that terrifies me because in my business, the things you love become your weakness. Your liability. Your Achilles heel. Then let us go." "No." The word was final, absolute, leaving no room for negotiation. "I'm not losing you. Not to them. Not to fear. Not to anything. We face this together, or not at all. You're mine now, whether you like it or not. The possessiveness should have annoyed her. Instead, it sent heat spiraling through her chest. You don't own me, Jae. Don't I? His smile was dangerous. Tell me you don't think about me every morning when you wake up. Tell me you don't wait for my knock on your door. Tell me you don't fall asleep remembering how I taste. She couldn't. God help her, she couldn't. Before she could respond, Lily started crying, and the moment shattered like glass. Jae was immediately in motion, unbuckling her car seat with practiced ease, lifting her against his chest with the kind of natural competence that made Maya's heart ache. Hey princess, he murmured, that soft tone he only used with the baby. I've got you. Nothing's going to hurt you, I promise. Your mama and I are having a moment, but we'll figure it out. We always do. He swayed gently, and Lily's cries faded to whimpers. That's my girl. So brave, just like your mama. Watching him with her daughter, Maya felt her resolve crumbling like sand. She was falling for this man. Had already fallen, if she was honest with herself. Somewhere between the hospital and the renovated apartment and the midnight feedings where he'd show up with takeout and hold Lily while Maya ate, she'd fallen completely and irrevocably in love with him. Which made this so much worse. Okay, she whispered, and his eyes snapped to hers. Okay, we do this your way. But Jae, if anything happens to her. If they so much as. It won't. He met her eyes over Lily's head, and his expression was pure steel. I swear on my life, on everything I own, nothing will touch either of you. I'll burn down all of Seoul before I let someone hurt my girls. My girls. The words wrapped around her heart and squeezed. The safe house turned out to be a penthouse in Hanamdong, the kind of place Maya had only seen in dramas. Floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of the Han River. Marble floors. Modern furniture that probably cost more than her yearly salary. And enough security to protect a small country. There were guards in the lobby, 4 of them, all armed and terrifyingly professional. More guards on their floor. Cameras in every hallway. This wasn't just safe. This was a fortress. Mrs. Kong was waiting in the living room when they arrived, surrounded by enough food to feed an army. Bulgogi, kimchi, 3 different kinds of jjigae, fresh fruit, and what looked like an entire bakery's worth of bread and pastries. Junior. She immediately swooped in, taking Lily from Jae's arms with the confidence of a woman who'd raised 3 children. And Maya dear, you look exhausted. Come, sit. Eat. We talk about this mess my son has gotten you into. Mom, this isn't. Hush. Mrs. Kong waved him off with her free hand, already bouncing Lily expertly. Take care of your business. I'll take care of your girls. There it was again. Your girls. The words that made Maya's chest tight and warm and terrified all at once. Jae hesitated, clearly torn between handling the threat and staying with them. His eyes kept darting to Maya, then to Lily, then back to Maya. She could see the war happening behind his eyes. Duty versus desire. Business versus love. Maya made the decision for him. Go, she said softly, trying to sound braver than she felt. Do whatever you need to do. We'll be fine here. His eyes searched hers for a long moment. Promise me you won't leave. Promise me you won't try to run while I'm gone. Where would I go? That's not a promise, Maya. He stepped closer, his hand sliding into her hair with achingly familiar gentleness. I need to hear you say it. Promise me you'll be here when I get back. She looked at her daughter, safe in Mrs. Kong's arms. Looked at this impossible man who'd appeared in an alley and refused to leave. This dangerous, unsuitable, completely wrong man who somehow felt like home. I promise, she whispered, and meant it. For better or worse, she was in this now. I'll be here. His kiss was deep and desperate and claiming, like he was memorizing her taste, imprinting himself on her. His hands framed her face, and she could feel the tremor in them, the barely controlled fear. When he pulled back, his forehead rested against hers, and they just breathed together for a moment. I'll fix this, he whispered against her lips. I'll end this tonight. No more threats. No more danger. I promise you. Be careful. Her hands clutched his shirt, not wanting to let go. Always am. His thumb brushed her cheek, catching a tear. Stay with my mother. Don't answer the door for anyone, not even if they say they're police. Don't go near the windows. And Maya. His eyes were intense, dark, full of promises and threats. If something goes wrong, there's an envelope in the bedroom safe. Code is Lily's birthday. Everything you need is in there. Money, documents, contacts. Everything. Her stomach dropped to her feet. Jay, don't talk like. Just in case. One more kiss, quick and hard and final. I'll be back before morning. Wait for me. And then he was gone, leaving Maya alone with his mother and a baby and the terrifying realization that she'd just let the man she loved walk into danger. He'll be fine, Mrs. Kang said, settling Lily into an expensive-looking bouncer that definitely wasn't there when they arrived. Had she had it delivered? My son is many things, but careless isn't one of them. He's survived worse than the Choi family. Maya paced the penthouse, too wired to sit, too scared to think straight. Her phone was clutched in her hand, waiting for a text, a call, anything. How do you live like this? The constant danger, the threats, never knowing if he'll come home. Love makes us brave, dear. Mrs. Kang patted the couch beside her. Sit down before you wear a hole in my son's very expensive rug. Let me tell you about Jay's father. Maya sat, desperate for anything to distract her from the images playing in her mind. Jay walking into a trap. Jay outnumbered. Jay hurt. He was like Jay, Mrs. Kang continued, her eyes going distant with memory. Powerful, dangerous, protective of what was his. Everyone told me to run when I first met him. My parents disowned me. My friends abandoned me. They said I was throwing my life away, that I'd end up dead or in prison. What made you stay? Maya asked quietly. Love. She said it simply, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. I loved him more than I feared his world. And yes, it was terrifying. Yes, there were threats and danger and nights I didn't sleep because I didn't know if he'd come home. But we had 30 beautiful years together. 3 children. Grandchildren now. A good life, despite everything. How did he die? Maya wasn't sure she wanted to know, but she needed to understand what she was signing up for. Heart attack of all things. Mrs. Kang smiled sadly. Not bullets or rivals or some dramatic shootout. Just his stubborn refusal to see a doctor when his chest started hurting. Very anticlimactic for a man who lived such a dramatic life. Maya didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I'm sorry. Don't be. We had our time, and it was beautiful. She took Maya's hand, her grip surprisingly strong. My son is falling in love with you. I see it in his eyes, the way he looks at you and Lily. Like you're his whole world. Like nothing else matters. It's too fast, Maya whispered. We've known each other 3 weeks. That's crazy. The best love stories usually are. Mrs. Kang squeezed her hand. My husband proposed after 2 weeks. Everyone thought we were insane. Maybe we were. But we had 30 years to prove them wrong. What if I can't do this? What if I'm not strong enough for his world? You grabbed a stranger's suit in an alley while in labor and demanded he help you. Mrs. Kang's smile was knowing. You moved to a foreign country alone and pregnant. You built a life here with no family, no support. Maya, you're stronger than you think. The question isn't whether you're strong enough. The question is, are you brave enough to let yourself fall? Before Maya could answer, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her blood turned to ice as she opened the message. Check the news. Your boyfriend just made a very public statement. Hope you're ready for the consequences. With shaking hands, Maya grabbed the remote and switched to the news. And froze. Jay was on screen, standing outside some warehouse in an area she didn't recognize. He was surrounded by cameras, reporters, other men in expensive suits. But it wasn't the setting that made her heart stop. It was what he was saying. To be absolutely clear, Jae's voice came through the TV, steady and dangerous and completely uncompromising. Maya Choi and her daughter Lily are under my personal protection. They are family. My family. Anyone who threatens them, directly or indirectly, will answer to me and the full force of the Kang family. Maya's brain stuttered. He'd used the name Choi. The same family that was threatening them. Why would he? Furthermore, Jae continued, and even through the TV screen, Maya could see the cold fury in his eyes. I'm formally announcing my engagement to Maya. The wedding will take place in 3 weeks at the Schiller Hotel. Any business associates wishing to send their regards are welcome to do so through proper channels. Anyone wishing to express disapproval can do so to my face. He paused, and the camera zoomed in on his expression. It was terrifying. Beautiful and terrible and absolutely uncompromising. And to the Choi family specifically, his voice dropped lower, more dangerous. Consider this your only warning. You've crossed a line you can't uncross. You threatened a child. My child. There is no negotiation. No treaty. No peace. You have 24 hours to present your patriarch to me for a formal apology, along with every member of your organization who participated in this threat. After that, I stop being reasonable. The reporters erupted in questions, but Jae was already walking away, his security forming a protective barrier around him. The phone slipped from Maya's hand and clattered to the marble floor. Engagement. Wedding. 3 weeks. He'd just announced their engagement on national television without asking her. Without even warning her. He'd claimed her and Lily in front of the entire country, in front of every criminal organization in Seoul, in front of everyone. Did you know about this? Maya demanded, turning to Mrs. Kang. My son makes his own decisions. But she was definitely smiling, that knowing, satisfied smile of a mother whose plans were coming together. Though I approve. Very dramatic. Very public. Very effective. I don't approve. I didn't agree to this. We're not even. She couldn't finish the sentence because what were they? Together? Dating? In love? She didn't even know. Your family now, Mrs. Kang said simply. In our world, that means something. It means protection. Safety. It means no one touches you without going through all of us. It also means I have no choice. You always have a choice, dear. Mrs. Kang stood, smoothing her designer dress. You could leave right now. Pack Lily up and disappear. My son would let you go if you truly wanted to leave. It would destroy him, but he'd let you go. Maya opened her mouth to argue, but the words died. Because Mrs. Kang was right. Jae would let her go. He'd be devastated, but he'd do it. He'd probably set her up somewhere safe, give her enough money to start over, protect her from a distance. But did she want to go? Before she could process that terrifying question, the door burst open. Jae strode in, still in his suit, looking dangerous and beautiful and completely unrepentant. There were guards with him, speaking rapidly in Korean, but he waved them away. We need to talk, Maya said, her voice shaking with adrenaline and fear and anger. Yes, he agreed, his eyes locked on hers. We do. You can't just announce we're engaged on national television. They were in the master bedroom, the door closed, voices rising despite both their attempts to stay calm. Mrs. Kang had tactfully taken Lily to another room, probably to avoid the baby hearing her parents' first real fight. I can and I did. Jae loosened his tie with sharp movements, that infuriating calm back in place like armor. It was the only way. The only way to what? Trap me? Force me into your world whether I want it or not. His eyes flashed, and suddenly he was across the room, backing her against the door. Not threatening but intense. So intense she could barely breathe. To protect you. In my world, a fiancé has more protection than a girlfriend. It sends a message that you're family. Untouchable. Sacred. So this is just strategy? Something hurt in her chest, sharp and painful. Just business? Just you moving pieces on a chessboard? You know it's not. His hands slammed against the door on either side of her head, caging her in. Don't pretend you don't feel what's between us. Don't pretend last night didn't happen. Last night. When he'd shown up at 2 a.m. with ice cream because she'd mentioned craving it. When they'd ended up on the couch, talking about everything and nothing. When he'd kissed her until she forgot her own name, until she'd been ready to drag him to her bedroom before Lily started crying. Feeling something doesn't mean I want to marry you. Her hands pushed against his chest, but he didn't budge. We've known each other 3 weeks, Jay. 3 weeks. People date for years before getting engaged. I knew after 3 hours. His forehead pressed against hers, and his voice dropped to something raw and honest. I knew the moment you grabbed my suit in that alley that you were going to change my life. That you were going to turn my world upside down and make me feel things I didn't know I could feel. That's crazy. Yes. He kissed her, hard and desperate and claiming. It's completely insane. It's irrational and impulsive and probably the stupidest thing I've ever done. But it's also true. It's the truest thing I've ever known. Maya melted into him despite herself, her hands fisting in his shirt, kissing him back with all the fear and frustration and yes, love, that she'd been holding back. He kissed like he did everything else, with complete focus and intensity, like she was the only thing that mattered in the world. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Jay rested his forehead against hers. His hands were gentler now, cradling her face like she was something precious. Marry me, he whispered. For real. Not for protection or strategy or business. Marry me because I'm falling in love with you and I can't imagine my life without you in it. Marry me because you feel it too, this thing between us. Marry me because 3 weeks or 3 years, it doesn't matter. I know what I want, Maya. The question is, do you? She wanted to say yes. God, she wanted to say yes so badly it hurt. But fear held her back. Fear of his world, fear of getting hurt, fear of making the wrong choice for Lily. I need time, she whispered. This is all happening so fast. The threats, the announcement, everything. I can't think straight. Disappointment flashed across his face, but he nodded. Okay. Take your time. I'll wait. His thumb brushed across her lips. But Maya, you should know. I'm not a patient man. And when I want something, I don't give up. Is that a threat? It's a promise. His smile was dangerous. I'm going to court you properly. Dates, flowers, romance. I'm going to prove that this isn't just adrenaline or fear or convenience. I'm going to make you fall in love with me. Pretty confident. I'm very good at getting what I want. His lips ghosted along her jaw. And I want you. All of you. Forever. Before she could respond, his phone rang. He answered in Korean, his expression darkening with every word. When he hung up, his jaw was tight. What is it? Maya asked, fear creeping back in. The Choi family. They're not backing down. They've doubled down, actually. Put out their own statement that you and Lily are legitimate targets until I withdraw from their territories. Maya's blood turned to ice. What does that mean? It means we're going to war. He pulled her close, and she could feel the tension in his body. It means I need you to stay here, stay safe, while I handle this. How? How do you handle something like this? His smile was cold. You really don't want to know. But Maya didn't have to ask. Because at 2 a.m., while she was trying and failing to sleep in Jay's guest room, her phone buzzed. Another unknown number. Another message. Check the news. Your boyfriend just escalated things in a way you won't believe. Hope you're ready for what comes next. With shaking hands, she grabbed the remote. Every news channel was showing the same thing. The Choi family's main headquarters was on fire. Not just on fire. Burning with the kind of intensity that suggested accelerants, planning, purpose. Emergency vehicles surrounded the building, but it was clearly too late to save it. And standing across the street, watching it burn with half a dozen men in suits behind him, was Jay. The camera zoomed in on his face, and Maya's breath caught. He looked satisfied. Dangerous. Completely unrepentant. This wasn't self-defense. This was a statement. A declaration of war. Her phone rang. Jay. You're watching the news, he said without preamble. Did you? The building was empty. I made sure of that. No casualties. Just property damage. His voice was calm, matter of fact. They threatened my family. This is them learning that was a mistake. Jay, you can't just burn down buildings. I absolutely can. And I did. And I'll do worse if they don't back off. His voice softened slightly. Maya, I know this isn't the man you want me to be. I know you want me to be better. And I will be for you. But not yet. Not until you're safe. This is insane. You're going to end up in prison. Or dead. Neither will happen. The police won't touch me. I own half of them, and the other half are too smart to try. And the Choi family isn't suicidal enough to kill me. They know my family would burn Seoul to the ground in response. Is this what my life would be like? If I said yes to marrying you? Watching you burn down buildings and dodge bullets? Silence. Then quietly, no. Once you're mine, officially mine, this ends. I'll step back from the active business. Let my brothers handle the dangerous stuff. I'll be boring. A businessman. A husband. A father to Lily and any other children we have. You're talking about kids? We're not even. I want everything with you, Maya. His voice was raw with honesty. Marriage, kids, growing old together. The whole terrifying, beautiful package. And I know it's too soon and too fast, but I can't help it. You've completely wrecked me for anyone else. Tears were streaming down her face. I don't know what to say. Say you'll wait for me. I'm coming back to you. And when I do, I'm going to make you the happiest woman in Seoul. Jay. The line went dead. Maya couldn't sleep after that. She paced the penthouse, checked on Lily a dozen times, drank 3 cups of tea that Mrs. Kang kept making her. By 4 a.m., she was exhausted and wired and terrified. That's when Mrs. Kang found her on the balcony, staring out at the city lights. He'll come back, the older woman said, wrapping a blanket around Maya's shoulders. He always does. How many times have you said that? How many times have you waited for men who might not come home? Too many to count. Mrs. Kang settled beside her. But they always came back. My husband, my sons. This life is dangerous, yes. But my family is smart. Careful. They don't take unnecessary risks. Burning down a building seems pretty risky. Calculated risk. Mrs. Kang smiled. That building was empty. Insured. The Choi family will get their money back eventually. But the message is sent. Touch his family, lose everything you care about. I don't know if I can do this, Maya whispered. Live this life. Raise Lily in this world. You don't have to. You can leave right now. Go back to your apartment, your normal life. Jay would understand. Eventually. Would he? No. Mrs. Kang's honesty was brutal. It would destroy him. But he'd let you go because he loves you enough to want you to be happy, even if it's not with him. Maya thought about that. About walking away from Jay, from this insane, dangerous, thrilling life. About raising Lily alone, safe, normal. And realized she didn't want to. Somewhere in the past 3 weeks, Jay had become essential. The thought of not seeing him every morning, not hearing his laugh, not feeling his arms around her, was unbearable. I love him, she said, surprised by the certainty in her voice. I actually love him. That's insane, right? Mrs. Kang's smile was knowing. The best love usually is. Jay came back at dawn, covered in ash and exhaustion and looking like he'd walked through hell. Maya was still on the balcony when she heard the door, and she ran without thinking, launching herself into his arms. He caught her easily, his arms wrapping around her waist, lifting her off the ground. Hey, he murmured into her hair. I'm okay. I'm here. You smell like smoke. I've been standing near a burning building. It happens. His hand stroked down her back, soothing. Are you okay? Did anything happen here? No. Your mother fed me and told me stories about your father and convinced me you'd come back. My mother is a wise woman. He set her down but didn't let go. Maya, about earlier. About the engagement announcement. I'm sorry. I should have asked first. Should have given you a choice. Yes, you should have. She pulled back to look at him. But I understand why you didn't. In your world, perception is everything. You needed to make a statement. Doesn't make it right. No. But it makes sense. She took a deep breath. Jae, I need you to promise me something. Anything. Promise me this is temporary. The violence, the danger, all of it. Promise me that if I say yes, if I agree to marry you, this isn't forever. His eyes were serious. I promise. Once you're my wife, I'm stepping back. My brothers can handle the dangerous business. I'll focus on the legitimate operations, the things that won't end with you getting threatening photos. You and Lily come first. Always. And if the Choi family doesn't back down? They will. His voice was certain. After tonight, they know I'm serious. No one threatens my family and walks away intact. The message is sent. Maya studied his face, seeing the exhaustion, the determination, the love. Yes, love. It was there in his eyes, clear as day. 3 weeks is too soon, she said finally. His face fell. Maya. For a wedding, I mean. She smiled at his confusion. If I'm going to marry a mafia boss, I want a proper wedding. At least 2 months to plan. Your mother will never forgive us if we rush it. His expression transformed from devastation to hope to joy so fast it made her dizzy. Are you saying? I'm saying yes. The words felt right, terrifying but right. I'm saying I love you, even though you're impossible and dramatic and you solve problems by burning down buildings. I'm saying I want this. Us. All of it. He kissed her then, deep and claiming and full of promise. When he finally pulled back, they were both breathless. 2 months, he agreed. But I'm not waiting that long to make you officially mine. We're getting the paperwork done this week. Romantic. I'll make up for it on the honeymoon. His grin was wicked. I'm thinking Paris. Or maybe the Maldives. Somewhere I can have you all to myself for 2 weeks straight. What about Lily? My mother would kill me if I didn't leave her granddaughter with her. She's already planning shopping trips and spoiling strategies. Maya laughed, feeling lighter than she had in days. Your mother is terrifying. She likes you. Trust me, that's worse. He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. I love you, Maya Choi. Soon to be Maya Kong. I love you too. She pressed her face against his chest, breathing him in. Smoke and cedar and home. Even though you're crazy. We're both crazy. His arms tightened around her. But we're crazy together. Maya woke up to sunlight streaming through the bedroom windows and the smell of coffee. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then it all came rushing back. The threats, the fire, the engagement. She was engaged to a mobster. Her mother would have had opinions. Lots of loud, colorful opinions. Morning, sleeping beauty. Jae appeared in the doorway with a tray. Coffee, fresh fruit, toast, and what looked like her favorite croissants from the bakery near her apartment. Thought you might be hungry. How are you so put together? She sat up, accepting the coffee gratefully. You got home at dawn. 4 hours sleep is plenty. He sat on the edge of the bed, watching her with that intense focus that still made her nervous. Besides, I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about the fact that you said yes. Having regrets about asking? Never. He leaned in and kissed her, soft and sweet. Best decision I ever made was stopping in that alley. Second best, she corrected. First was not driving away when I grabbed your suit. Fair point. His phone buzzed, and his expression shifted as he read the message. The Choi family wants to meet. Maya's stomach dropped. Is that good? It's expected. After last night, They know they can't win this fight. They're going to offer terms. He stood, already moving toward the closet. I need to handle this. Should only take a few hours. Jae. I'll have 10 men with me. Full security. Nothing will happen. He pulled out a fresh suit, started changing. Maya tried not to be distracted by the view. You'll stay here with my mother and Lily. Safe. I hate this. The waiting, the not knowing. He crossed back to her, cupped her face in his hands. One more day. After this meeting, it's over. The Choi family backs off, we get married, and we live happily ever after. Deal. That's not how real life works. It's how our life works. He kissed her forehead. Trust me. And despite everything, she did. End of part 2. Comment now. How do you think this is going to end? Team Maya or Team Marcus? Subscribe because part 3 is going to be insane. Next time, custody hearings, family secrets revealed, a wedding that might never happen, and Maya makes a choice that changes everything. Drop a fire in the comments if you need part 3 right now. And seriously, if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Part 3 is where everything explodes.